EVF, you are bright, you are vibrant, and you are integral. Sensor, you're giving 110%. I love the work you're doing for the team. USB-C, you are a shameful disappointment. You could be doing so much more. Welcome back, friends. It's Chris Nichols here from DPReview TV, and I've got a special segment here for you today. But before I go further, I want to explain a little bit of the backstory on why we're doing this. See, Jordan and I in the past have given suggestions for new kinds of cameras and new kinds of technology that we would like the manufacturers to implement. And, years to decades later, they have implemented many of those things. For example, when we said we wanted a retro-looking Nikon digital body, well, they gave us the Nikon DF. That one's maybe a bad example, but many other examples worked out beautifully. And so we realized that we have a superpower when it comes to the manufacturers, and we have a new segment where we are going to suggest to them things that we would like to see implemented in the future for the benefit of all the photographers and videographers out there. So what I want to talk to you today about is the USB-C interface. A year ago, Jordan bought a brand new Apple MacBook Pro so he could edit our videos for DPReview. And he was furious to realize that all it has is a headphone jack and 4 USB-C ports. Where was the SD card slot? Where's the ability to add other older drives and stuff with standard USB ports? It was crazy, especially when you consider the computer has so much surface area. What it did promise, though, was a lot of potential for a universal series of dongles that you could add to the computer so that you could power the computer, charge the computer, download from the computer, interface with other devices, and so on and so forth. Now, when you look at a camera, so many of them now are implementing USB-C ports, except for the Panasonic G95 for some reason. But imagine a world where every camera that you buy out there has maybe 1 or 2 USB-C ports. And with a series of adapters or the option to just use, USB interface equipment, you could plug all this stuff right into your camera across all the manufacturers on a universal standard. And that way you can tailor what you need your camera to do and how it's going to behave to your needs. So here's our first idea. Jordan and I often complain about how cameras don't always have a mic jack and a headphone jack. And then for every person that wants that for video hybrid work, there's another person who says, I wish I didn't have any of that on my camera because I'm photo only. Well, we want to see something like what Fuji X-T30 has done halfway. They allow you to use an adapter to plug headphones in through the USB-C port. But why not give us an adapter like we see on cell phones and computers? We could plug into USB-C and have both headphone and mic jack. It would be brilliant. It would save a lot of space. And if you don't want any of that on your camera, you simply don't buy the adapter. Now, another idea we'd really like to see implemented was inspired by our recent use of the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K camera, which downloaded 4K RAW directly to SSDs via a cable. You have to have a rig for it all and kind of worry about the cable pulling out at the wrong time. But I think what I'd really like to see for our modern mirrorless cameras is use your existing SSDs that have the USB-C interface, or even purpose-built compact SSDs that would plug straight into the camera that would then dub all the photo and video from the cards to those drives. Now, I know that there are other solutions like external hard drives with SD slots built into them, but now you need a separate power solution for that hard drive. They're insanely expensive, plus you got to take the card out, pop into the hard drive. Why not just give us a little SSD that we can carry in our camera bag or carry in our pocket, plug in the side of the camera, and dump it? It also means you don't have to worry about bringing big laptops along for storage and security. Now let's take that idea a little bit further, because a lot of people out there are getting into fights on the forums over cameras that only have a single card slot or dual card slot, and you need this to be a professional, and you don't need this if you're an enthusiast, and so on and so forth. But why have to be limited by that? Why have to deal with your Nikon or Canon, for example, only having the 1 card slot? You know what I'm talking about, Canon and Nikon. Give us the ability to put SD adapters and card readers straight into the USB-C port and then plug an SD card into the side of that. They already exist. We just need the interface to work properly. And if you feel that's going to be too delicate, these adapters could be built up stronger. Plug into your hot shoe or your 1/4 inch 20 on the bottom and then run a nice right angle cable into a port. That would work great too. Let us use SDs, XQDs, and CFs if we want. And imagine if you could get dual card slots in the camera and then add a 1/3 with this port adapter, and then have your RAWs go to one, your JPEGs go to another, and your video go to another. It would keep you organized, and SD cards are cheap. One idea that we really like that has actually been implemented by many of the manufacturers is the ability to charge your camera off of the USB-C port. I mean, it's great and convenient to charge it in the car, to charge it off of a USB power bank. Some manufacturers even let you run the camera off of a USB power bank. Not all of them though, so we'd like to see that become more universal. But I think that that USB power interface should be a two-way street. Now, first off, where's that power gonna come from? You know I'm not a big fan of camera grips. I find them bulky and large, and the extra battery life is the same as just carrying extra batteries in your pocket or bag. But what if that battery grip did have big battery supply with a USB power port? You could run all sorts of peripherals. I mean, think of red LED lights for astrophotography. Plug it in, you've got your lights to see all your buttons without wrecking your night vision. Think about running your external LED lights if you want to do video work, or power to your microphones. I mean, these would be such useful things that in the video world we use all the time with V-mount power supply. Think of other things like, what about a USB fan that you stick in the hot shoe pointing at your forehead in the summertime? That'd be brilliant. Or in the wintertime, if your hands are getting really cold, plug in hand warming gloves to the USB power supply. Unless you have a Sony a6300, then you're already covered. I want to leave you with this last thought, and that is that I think that the smartphone market and the computer market have already been taking advantage of these. You know, all the dongles, all the accessories, all the third-party manufactured parts that you can use to tailor the experience the way you need it to. And I think we need to see that in our cameras. In order to stay competitive, photographic cameras have to borrow a lot from the smartphone and computer world. It's just the natural progression of things. So, manufacturers, I hope you're listening. This is what we want to see. And don't worry, folks, we've got a lot more ideas that we want the manufacturers to implement. So if you like this concept, we will continue to make these short videos telling the manufacturers we need to have this to be happy. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.